have any additions or changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I made a list on top of your agenda.
So we want to discuss, in addition to what's on the agenda, there's a proposed zoning change that maybe we can take up for a few minutes at some point during the meeting that would change how uplands and wetlands are calculated in a building lot. And then there's, just wanted to talk briefly about maybe a policy for tree removal. There's a couple of scouts with some projects that are coming up, and just want to make sure we're all on the same page with what they're interested in them pursuing. And I think that's all I had. Yeah?
That's it.
Anybody else?
I make a motion we accept the agenda as amended.
A second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. The first thing we could do this evening, I think, is maybe thank some folks that have been willing to work on our trails and park this summer and fall. So maybe Pat wants to elaborate just a little bit, and then...
Well, some of the commission members know more about this project than I do, but we know that you put a lot of hard work into it this summer. We really appreciate the work that was done. This is great. And then Frank has a few words, and we have something else, and feel free to speak about what you did if you'd like to.
So the commission can't get to all the places that we have in Scituate, and so we really appreciate extra help in keeping up our trails and conservation land, and you guys have been awesome in helping out with that. And we just want to say thanks, and we have a certificate that you could put in your room or wherever you'd like to, and then just a little thank you on the side. So maybe I could do this, and why don't you come on up here.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, stand right up here. So let's see. Timothy?
This is it.
Hey, Timothy, I'm Frank Snow.
Frank Snow.
Thank you very much. That's for you. Matthew?
It's me.
Matthew, that's for you. Thank you very much. Christopher?
Over here.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
And Kathleen? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And then these are for you guys, if you get down to Scituate, and you can...
Ooh, money.
You're buying dinner tonight.
Well, no one to do a great service to Scituate is the greatest reward of all.
Thank you very much. No, we really appreciate your help. It's a lot of work, and we're really grateful that folks take an interest in the town's property and making it really nice, and we appreciate that. Thanks so much. Oh, can you guys hold them up, and Lisa can take a picture? And move the, so that way your name shows. We won't take that back, honest. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Cheese, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, I think she's trying to get one too.
Great. Well, thank you very much again. What did you like about the project that you were working on? Did you enjoy the park?
Yeah.
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 See anything special out there?
I do.
What did you see?
Yes.
Really? There you go. It's always a good objective. That usually gets the guys there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I might go next year.
Girl.
That's quite the talk, I guess.
Cosmos Cafe, you've gotten food from there. Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. They worked very hard this summer.
Wow.
Yes.
Excellent.
That's awesome. We should give them.
Yeah. The rest of this meeting's kind of boring, so... We're out of here now.
You probably do that.
You don't have to say it twice.
Save yourself.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Could get more folks in Scituate to take an incentive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
In case anybody missed that, the real incentive to being out working on the park are the girls.
That was very
Thank you, Frank, for organizing all that gift certificate, too.
Can thank Carol.
Cal for the certificates. Keep that template.
You guys are the best.
Well, we're lucky that folks are willing to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it just doesn't get done.
Right.
And maybe while we're on it,
And to come in and bring the kids in and get recognized, too.
Right.
That's a nice thing, too.
right. While we're just on the subject real quick, I got a request from another scout for a life badge. And it's a one-day project with the troop. And so he and I are going to try to meet in the next couple of days, but I think he's going to try to clean up that little parking lot at Ellis on Man Lot near 3A.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know, it's a
about-
small area, but for some reason, people just seem to think that's a good spot for trash.
It is, yeah.
And so there's actually a lot of stuff that's sort of thrown back a little bit further, and if that's what, we'll figure out a good spot. And I talked to the Scoutmaster this morning, there's a couple more coming along, so.
Oh, good.
And then I think they're gonna wind up in the next year or so having a couple of Eagles, which are larger projects, which would be great.
Cal's gonna have to make some good plaques, little
Oh,
templates.
These guys get a badge, but, yeah, we certainly appreciate, glad that folks have an interest. So we got one RDA, correct?
Well, what about how? Are we still doing that, 92 Clap Road?
That's just a placeholder, that'll be done by
I
then.
understand, so you want me to continue that?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to continue how 92 Clap Road
I second.
until October 15th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anybody on Coloris and Barry? Do you want to?
No, there's nobody here, but there was an extensive email
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
that I sent out, and somehow it's gotten confused. I mean, we could require a notice of intent, but we're trying to allow them to do an RDA just with 2 bits of information. So I emailed them later today and I said, you know, just call me tomorrow. It seems like we're not getting through what we're looking for on this. So, because I think the only other alternative would be if they don't want to provide this information, then we issue a positive determination, then they're
Right.
required to file.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, you know, make it a bit easier than that.
Well, I think they know the reason they don't want to provide the information.
So,
But yeah,
I'm assuming they'll want to be back in 2 weeks.
So I'll continue them?
Yeah, and they did say if we didn't have all the information that we needed, that they would like a continuance.
Okay, I make a motion to continue Berry 20 Monticello to October 15th, the RDA.
Have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we got about 5 minutes or so before we can do Missoula and Libby's after that at 6:45.
Okay, further down on there's an informal on the Water Resource Committee Conservation Plan, and this, John Clarkson dropped this off, and this is going before, I think, the next town meeting. There's gonna be 2 before the spring. There's gonna be 1 this fall, and then maybe 1 in the winter. And he's asked for us to review it, and if we agree with it, to write a letter of support. So I think it's Planning Board and us and Board of Health, and there's several different committees that have been
This is
asked.
on the irrigation?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different
Yeah.
information in this.
I sat in on part of his presentation with a selectman.
Yes, right, that was the one. And then, but there's a whole bunch of other study points about the water usage and, you know, what kind of trouble we're in. So we didn't have it in electronic form, so we only have this this one here.
That's all right.
All right, we'll get this scanned and sent out to everybody, and then I told him we'd review it. It sounded like something we may be interested in supporting.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. So. How was the presentation with the selectmen?
I think they were just taking it in, and, they're trying to figure out, the discussion I heard basically was on the banning of irrigation systems unless people have a well.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you couldn't have been doing it at a better time, except if you'd waited one more month, because
Yeah.
how dry it's been. But it'll be interesting to see how they figure that out. I mean, they've obviously seen that they're close
Yeah.
with the water, and I've been talking to Jim DeBarros a little bit.
Are they pursuing anything on like drilling another well, or? I
Not
mean,
to my knowledge.
something like this is temporary. I mean, you can't stop. You're just putting Band-Aids on, but you build more houses and eventually.
Yeah, no, we're
need
using
more
more
water.
water.
A lot of more houses are coming, too.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jimmy today, to Barrows, and he said that they're looking at raising,
Well, the raising of the reservoir is a piece that he shared that study with me. I read over it and then gave it back to him.
right, yeah.
But part of that is to try to make sure that they have adequate water to run more water during the
Yes.
spawning times of more andromedas fish, herring.
Because they're wondering if that has,
Right, they're trying to run more water out the herring brook, and that's in conjunction with even North and South River watershed.
yeah.
So, but they need to, A, try to reduce some of the usage, get people to
Right.
conserve more, and then B, they've got to come up with hopefully another source. I mean, Kevin Cafferty told me that they were not running the wells at full capacity the end of the summer because they couldn't. They were afraid that they were going to dry them up.
The wells aren't that deep, I'm told, they're not the main source. They
But,
can't be.
I think from our standpoint, we should definitely look at any conservation pieces, and it's not just, because we want more water for the town to grow. We want to be able to make sure that a certain amount of water can run through these brooks to support the fish and,
Yeah. The
Aquatic.
wetlands don't dry up. And, yeah.
right. It's not going to be simple, but I think, I've had a couple conversations with John, and he's done a lot of research.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's far off.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the town will support it, but, I mean, there are
Well,
new
hopefully-
subdivisions with new lawns, and it'll be,
Well, even just trying to get one established, even if you have an exemption, right now, it's only handheld water, and if you've done any planting, you just got to stand out there on water. Yeah, if you could share that, that'd
yeah,
be
we
great,
can get
Pat.
that scanned.
Appreciate it.
Is there somebody from Hatherley Road? Youth? Okay. We asked regarding the cutting, it's listed under the name Haas. It's the Hatherley Road tree cutting.
Yeah.
And so we've invited them to come in at 6:20. We figured we could fit them in because we knew we had some cancellations.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. If I
Okay.
could just, I typed up a letter, and I was going to give you, it's a draft on the letter that we talked about last time, so.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute, and then you guys can.
Okay,
I'm gonna go get some water.
okay.
It's that air in the airplanes, it's not good for you.
Well, it isn't. It's just recycled air.
How was your vacation?
It was a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a very, very emotional trip. But we saw a lot. We went from Normandy into Brussels, into Belgium, up to the Netherlands. Happened to get there the day that they were liberated on September 19th, 70 years ago.
Oh, wow.
In the 82nd Airborne. Eindhoven, and they had a drop we didn't know about. The C-37s flew over, and all of a sudden, the sky's full of parachutes coming down. It was
Oh, wow.
it was just breathtaking to see.
Wow.
And then and the Dutch just loved the Americans.
Huh.
Because we gave them their freedom back, and they really appreciate it. And then we went back into Brussels to the Battle of the Bulge, and we happened to have an 84 a 94-year-old with us from the 101st, and he was a replacement and came in to the Battle of the Bulge in January.
Wow.
God love him.
Wow.
He was in better shape than we were. And then we ended up, we went to a concentration camp, a work camp, and then we ended up at the Eagle's Nest in the Bavarian Alps. It was one hell.
Sounds nice.
It was a trip I'll never forget.
Vote last meeting did a draft for enforcement on cuttings, that's basically what the law says. But you had mentioned that you wanted to speak to the commission.
Yeah, we just heard last night, I guess it was, that it was on the agenda. Where my wife's family owns the property, and we just wanted to, we're not the persons that did the cutting actually, but we wanted to come and be here.
Okay. And for the record, sir, your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Leonard P. Merchant, and this is my wife Madeline Haas Merchant, and we live at 7 Second Avenue, Scituate.
Okay. Do you want to?
Yeah, what has happened on this? Somebody reported cutting, down near the marsh, so then we got the call, we went down there, and then I spoke with the contractor across the street, and he was building a house, but he knew who owned the property. So then we brought it to the commission, and what we do is we send out a violation letter, and we try to get, sometimes people are unaware that they can't cut in certain areas, and we ask for replantings, and then sometimes enforcement orders are issued based on, how the voluntary request goes, so. So we're at the point of sending out the letter. We're a little behind. We've had a lot of things going on, because this is probably 3 weeks or a month old now, so.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can tell us more about what,
Is that your property? Is it Mr. Merchant?
No, it's my wife's family, actually, but Madeline's name is the name that's on the deed. It says Madeline Barry.
Okay.
And that's Madeline Merchant.
Sure.
So that's why we're here, is because Madeline's the owner of the land.
Okay. So what was the cutting actually in?
it's right along Hatherley Road, and there's a marsh, a big wet marsh down behind the beach, and it extends upslope, and there's a lot of trees down, a lot of brush down, and it's near the street. It could be a buffer area, or it may be actually in the wetlands.
Do you know who cut that did the cutting, Mr. Merchant? Was that someone?
Well, what happened on it is my brother-in-law, Stephen Haas, who lives down on Egypt Road, bought the little house that's on the corner of Hatherley and Egypt Beach Road there. And they asked if we'd have any objection if they cleared some brush. And I think it was because the house looks over, it's true, the property abuts the pond there. Mm-hmm. And this house is right across the street, really, from the property, is what it amounts to. So I'll be honest, we didn't think anything of it, and said, okay, we thought there were a lot of vines and grapevines and things like that. But anyway, what happened is, whatever the cutting was there, I think it was far more than we ever envisioned.
How many trees? It didn't seem to
I don't
be a
know.
lot.
There's a bunch of trees down. It almost looked like it was to create an ocean view, from
Yeah,
the
I think
house.
that was really probably at the basis of it. And it was it was family.
Coincidentally, at about the same time that was going on, I had hired Mr. Cole to do some surveying there, because I'm interested in getting rid of that.
Yeah, there was some flags out there, I think, too, weren't there?
I think that
Yeah.
he did that, but he called me and said that he needed to get an environmental scientist to get an opinion on that.
Right. Before you get the surveyor out there, you may want to find from a wetland person if you have any possible use of it. Sometimes you're near a wetland, but you're not in it, and there may be some areas that can be used, but we go by the wetland report from a wetland scientist.
That's what we
probably what he
understood.
hired
too.
then.
Yeah. So that's where it's at, I guess, right now, is we're just waiting, really.
Oh, is Ralph going to be landing someone else to?
Yeah, that's what he indicated.
He had to
Yes.
find somebody
Okay.
to do it, and we heard from Ralph, well, a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said. That's all of it we could really tell you about it.
Okay.
So anyway, we were concerned when we heard that there was a problem, and that's why I came to see you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as we heard,
Mr.
we
Merchant
came
came in
down.
and spoke to us, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, so the amount of cutting, I mean, is this something that can revegetate? Do we need to,
Well, you know what, it's so thick in there, you can't really even tell where the wetland begins and where the buffers. It is, they were saying, it's a lot of vines, and a lot of grape stuff, so I think maybe if the wetland person get out there, then we go out and take a look and then see, you know, what makes sense. It may be that it's, you know, 50 feet from a wetland, I can't tell, or it might be right in it, so, but it looked like it's fairly close,
okay,
so.
all right.
And, I mean, I would recommend that if Ralph's got somebody lined up, that we get the report from them and then, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that some replanting is needed, or maybe you have something.
Could I ask you just two quickies? It's okay to get a survey.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And so that's what I wanted to ask first, was it? Could I have somebody go in there?
Sure.
And then the second question was, the stuff that's already down there, does that stay there, or can it be cleared and
Probably the best,
How far?
my guess would be it's best to probably leave it alone until we have a chance to take a look and see.
Oh, sure.
Because you might
Yeah,
do
we're not-
more,
We don't have any plans for it.
you might do more damage pulling it out. In some cases, even if it's cut in or near the wetland, it may be better off to just let it decay
In Mother Nature.
where it is, but really don't know until somebody, you know, you may be able to do, as Pat points out, depending on where the wetlands lines are, you may be within your rights to do that, or, you know, if somebody really wanted to do some clearing, depending on the type of plants that are growing there, there may be some invasives that they could clean out. There may be a way to work with somebody to,
There's a few invasives, I'd
yeah,
say.
There's a lot.
yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of bittersweet.
Well, that's the kind of thing, depending on how they want to clear it, or what they want to do. If it's at the end of the work, it's a positive step for that piece of property, then we can discuss it. But as Pat points out, really, we need to know what's there first, and then if the folks really have an interest in doing that and want to look into that, it's a possibility that maybe there are things that would be allowed, but they may need to be permitted.
Sure.
One other thing on that too is if they had come to us first, we ask people to come to us first before they do cutting.
Hello,
because
yes, sir.
Under the law, you're allowed to do vista pruning. So if you did have a spot that needed a few branches to come down or a tree to come down so that you could see, that's something that the commission could vote on and you wouldn't be in any trouble at all. So, you know, we ask people to come to us first.
Well, we just wanted to do the right thing.
Appreciate it.
Once we realized that, you know, that it was a done thing, obviously, when we
Well-
realized there was a problem, but I think that we wanted to, you know, straighten it out
Appreciate it.
to the satisfaction of the town, you know.
It sounds like you're on the right course, I guess. Good. And you've got a copy of that letter now from Pat?
Yep, I don't have the right mailing address, so I'll just get that from you so that we can, see it.
You know what I did, well, we're going to have to back up one step. For Barry,
Yeah.
I never read this IDA. So I'm just going to read it, and then we can re-vote it.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
On October 1st, 2014, during the 6:15 meeting of the Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Ida Marie Colores and Renee Barry for a determination of applicability of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands bylaws for replacement of a damaged fence on property located at 40 Monticello Street, Hummerock. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
Okay.
And so we want to get a motion
I
to...
make a motion to continue Barry, 20 Monticello, to October 15th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks.
Frank creates the problems and he solves them.
Very quickly. Good
Bless
job.
you.
That's why he's the chair.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Be the boss.
Mazzola, 30 Inner Harbor Road, septic repair, and they requested a continuance till next meeting?
Yeah, we got
This
something
is-
on that, right? Yeah.
The Board of Health, oh, hi, Bill. The Board of Health requested that they revise the plan on this, and then they just received it back today, and we just got the plan today. And they're going to have a Board of Health hearing on this in a few weeks. And, yeah, so it may or may not be the same time for us, but if we want to continue it till the 15th, and then if we have to continue it again, we do.
Okay.
And in the meantime, the other
Yeah,
notice of intent came in for this property for the walkway piece. So maybe we could do both of them that night.
Okay. So we're not going to open that piece yet, right?
No, expect some abutters for that one.
Okay, so we won't open it, we'll,
Yeah, it's kind of lonely here tonight, jeez.
I know.
We're just going to continue it, right?
Well, we're not even gonna
Yeah, we need to, so
Yeah.
have a motion to
Okay.
continue?
I make a motion to continue, what is it? 30 Inner Harbor Road to October 15th at 6:30?
Sure.
Second?
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Thanks. Libby at 11 Hamilton Ave, addition,
He just stepped outside.
He's here.
That's Paul
Mary
from
B.
Albedo.
Oh.
not in a hurry.
Okay.
We're just continuing everything.
I will give him a minute.
It has, yeah.
So,
I didn't
just a real
realize
quick one, on the Toll Brothers piece,
Yeah.
They are.
on the Toll Brothers piece, we just have to get a little bit more information.
Got a lot of emails on that from people today, or yesterday, from commission members, and it's the same two areas of vernal pool that we talked about at the meeting
Excuse me.
are within the bordering vegetated wetlands, and one of them is a big, large wetland, and we were talking about the northern end of that as possibly being a vernal pool. The other side of it has vegetation that wouldn't be conducive for a vernal pool. So they asked us, in their planning to do the subdivision roads, could we help them by telling on the plan which flagged area is the one we're concerned about? So then they could start developing, plans for the other part of it. So this is the northern end of Wetland C, which is that, that concrete area, the big flat?
Yep.
Yeah. If you walk into the wetland from there, it's not at that end of the wetland, it's at the far end near the subdivision road, Norwell or...
It's a long, thin wetland that runs parallel with Hadley Road.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you get fairly close to Norwell Ave.
yeah.
And there's a depression there, and when Pat and Tom and I walked in, we said, there is some dark stained leaves and there's some other things in that area. The neighbors had been concerned about that, so we said, well, we're definitely gonna wait on the larger wetland that's north of Wampatuck School, between Wampatuck and Irving.
Irving, yeah.
So, that one,
Skating
we're
pond. Yeah.
definitely gonna wait to see what happens in the spring. I mean, when we went in there, it was bone dry, obviously, but there's some areas that could be 3 feet deep.
Yeah. And there were wood frogs there in the spring, so. So
Last
this,
spring,
this,
yeah.
this other one, C, we're gonna check this again in the spring too.
Right.
We're not making a decision on it now, we're just saying.
We're just trying to refine it a little bit, but I
Yes.
thought we gave them the flagged areas, and that area was too big?
No,
The
Yeah.
flagged
no, I
areas
think I don't think it was
Yeah.
clear.
Okay.
We said that part of the pool, but we never gave
Okay.
flag numbers, so.
So, but I think what's important is that we just, like, we've been parking at the proving grounds, and from there, we can just walk north, right through that whole wetland, and get to that area, as opposed to going in the way that Pat and Tom and I did.
Yeah, that was not a good
We should be
way.
able to walk in and walk out, and have a good look at that whole area, and just agree that that's where that would be.
So the game plan is to walk that with Chris next week and just kind of refine the area a little
Yeah.
bit, and then let them know that this is our area of concern, and that with the understanding that we're still coming back in the spring to further
Right.
define it. Yeah,
And Mark
okay.
will be with us too, their wetland guy.
But
Okay.
they're not going to do anything in that area of concern that we're going to revisit in March,
Well,
right?
the plans will probably change a number of times, but at least they'll know that the other end of it is pretty well set. If we do find it's a vernal pool up there, they may lose a couple of lots, and they understand that. But if the vernal pool is that whole wetland, they may lose 20 lots. So they're putting $500,000 into engineering now. They don't want to do a real lot of extra engineering they don't have to do,
Right.
so.
So does that mean they will be trampling over that area that we haven't
No,
determined?
no,
Okay.
no. No, the engineering would just be on plans.
And there's still,
Okay.
it's still a
Way to go.
wetlands, and there's still a buffer around that wetlands.
Okay.
It's just that with a vernal
Right.
pool, the buffer zone is going to increase. So instead of 50, it's 150.
150, yeah.
One other thing on Toll Brothers, it's not on the agenda, but there's going to be engineering review team hired by the town. And we have our group, 4 engineers that we always use. This is going to be expanded because of the duties that this engineering firm is going to have to be able to do. They're going to have to know not only like subdivision, roadways, and stormwater, they're going to have to know LSP, soil things, they're going to have to know hooking up to sewer and water and all that. So we need a big firm with a lot of expertise. So this is going out to bid, not out to bid, out for qualifications, a request for qualifications. And a number of firms we expect will want this job, and they'll show us what they've done. It's unrelated to the cost. It's all going to be based on, here's my experience. So we're going to bring them into town hall and meet with a bunch of them. And we're actually still looking for names of firms that people have worked with that they like, and we can let them know to submit if they want to.
This is in addition to the guys that we're already working with.
They won't be on this project.
Oh, oh, okay.
The one way they could be on this project is if they step out of the rotation of the group that we do now. You know, if they say, boy, it'd be worth it for us to go for this one and not do all the little projects, then they may choose.
But they may not have the depth or field of expertise to...
The amount of time,
with
to
that,
the
yeah,
amount of
right.
staff, yeah. It's gonna have to be a big group. But it's gonna be a real important decision, so I think it's gonna be a lot of input. It can't just be, you know, a couple of people planning, a couple of people conservation. This is the whole town. We need town administrator, public works, board of health people, you know, to help us with this decision on who to pick. You know,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Can I just ask one quick question? I wasn't at the last meeting, but is there going to be a clarification to the Toll Brothers and their attorney about the orders that you were going to issue in 21 days on this property? So it's very clear, so nothing can come back at us in the spring, like an appeal or something, because they didn't get out in time?
Yeah, when I spoke with DEP today, their feeling is you should definitely issue it in 21 days.
Yeah.
And then you can't get an appeal based on missing the time frame. You know, so in the spring, there could be a debate about, you know, they disagree with us on that, but that's a whole different thing. At least we're not, we're in compliance. I mean, it's nothing they can do about it because the ORAD's issued, you know.
The ORAD is issued. Well, my concern is we're going to look at the vernal pool.
Yeah.
Possible vernal pools in the spring.
Yeah.
And that could change the ORAD, yes, no?
No, it'll be worded in a way that there's 2 areas of concern we're going to
All
look
right.
at for vernal pool. You're right.
I just want to be sure it's going to be very clear that we can go back in the spring.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have to do another
that's
step.
what we discussed.
Right, on the ORAD, you're right.
Okay.
That's why.
Thank you.
Sorry, I made that
No,
longer than it needed to be.
Thank you.
Maybe you ought to just come down to the office and stay with Pat and make sure he writes it.
Do you want my help, Pat?
He's there every day.
Already just turned.
Pat and I have quite a...
Just increases blood pressure.
No, happy for the visit.
There you go. So we want to do this hearing, and then we can jump to a couple other miscellaneous things? All right. Do we have Libby at 11 Hamilton Ave?
Did you take a ride down here? To Libby?
So where are we wasting our time?
That's okay.
On October 1st, 2014, at a 6:45 PM meeting in the Town Hall of Scituate Conservation Commission, will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Michael Libby to landscape, construct additions, and relocate existing driveway on property located at 11 Hamilton Ave, Scituate. Abutters and the other interested parties are invited to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Paul Mirabito from Ross Engineering Company, representing the owner and applicant who is seated in the rear, and the project architect, Dick Rockland. The owner recently purchased this property in the last few months, and what they're proposing to do is to put an addition onto the existing house, which is in white. This shaded area here is the proposed addition. The existing driveway, which is here, would be moved further away from the wetland to service the proposed garage in this location here. The outline of yellow is the lot that they own, which is 14,400 square feet. Off-site, there's a edge of BVW that was flagged by Brad Holmes. Some of it's on the abutting lot, and the rest of it is in the layout of Hamilton Avenue. To the right side of the house, or the south side, this is existing lawn area. This is the edge of the vegetation around the lot. The majority of the work is between 50 and 100 feet. This blue line represents the 14-foot contour, which under the new flood maps of May 1st of 2013 is a 14-foot contour. At the present time, it's in Zone X. But under the new flood zone, the flood zone would end along this contour here. So everything they build in this area here would be outside the new flood zone, as is proposed. The house is on town sewer. There's an injector pump here that takes it down Hamilton Avenue. Hamilton Avenue is a private way that services two homes here, and this property here. This is on a gravel roadway, but it's not paved. There's an existing shed here that's going to be raised, and there's pictures of it in the application. We also show a proposed silt sock in this area here. There's very little grading associated with this because the land is fairly flat. The only grading would be right around the house itself with some landscaping around the side of the garage and in the back of it. And everything else on the site would remain as is. There's no work proposed on this side of the house. With that, I'll end my presentation and answer any questions you may have.
Are we saying pink is the wetlands line?
Yes.
So the garage,
This is pink, this is the 50-foot buffer,
yeah,
and this is the 100-foot buffer. So,
the new garage is going right through the 100-foot buffer?
pardon?
The new garage is going right through the 100-foot buffer?
Yes, that's the 100-foot buffer zone. This is the house addition, and this is the garage.
And there was a garage there before?
Pardon?
Was there a garage there before?
No.
Okay.
All the vehicles used to park right here.
I lost it, because I could have swore today I saw a two-car garage when I was out there, which I obviously didn't. It must have been the shed I was making things up. So you are doing, so that's all addition, because at first I thought you were turning the old garage into...
No.
No, there isn't. No, you're right. You're right. I'm misled, Pat.
Why do we want to do this? Why do we want to do this?
So there will be new built in between the 50 and the 100.
So this is the 50. House.
Yep, that's the existing house.
Well, the existing lawn goes right up to the vegetation.
Yep.
So the existing house is totally within 50 and 100 feet. What he's going to do is to build this further away.
Okay. So maybe for a new build with like some plantings or something.
Well, how many square feet are we going into the
Well,
100 with?
quite a few.
You mean this
Yeah.
area right here?
But it's okay to build in the 100.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying...
Right.
It's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
probably 500 or 600 square feet.
Okay.
between this and this area here.
Yeah, you know, that's all, otherwise,
I mean,
because the wetlands are...
Yeah, it's the far side.
Yeah.
It's a developed
Yeah.
yard. It's the opposite side of the house from the
Right.
wetlands. It's out of the
Right.
50.
Yeah.
Bill?
No, that was the only question I had, thank you.
No questions.
Lisa,
No questions?
any comments, Pat?
Yeah, well, I feel better that it is a new owner, because there's a lot of debris in the wetlands, and you can't be blamed for that. It's a lot of old stuff. I think where the wetland line was flagged was accurate, and I think slopes are an issue, they're on town sewer, everything is outside the 50, so I think the development part of it looks okay. It's just that there's a lot of debris and stuff in the wetlands and a lot of cleanup, and some of it looks like it's from the next door out back to the right, out that way. There's a big path cut through a wetland out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of junk out there, and that may be beyond your property line. If this house were built now, you wouldn't have a lawn because there's a 50-foot buffer, but this house goes back before the law. So, I mean, for most of these types of projects, we're trying to get more of a buffer. So if there's anything you can either plant or let go along the wetland line to help us with the buffer. But straight in, if you came straight in and you went straight out the back, it must have been like a leaf pile or a grass pile. That's right in the wetland. So, I mean,
You want us to remove that, or?
if that would be possible, that would be great. It's long time stuff.
Well, we want to clean it up, so.
Yeah, that would be great if
I
that
didn't
could
know if
come
we're
out.
allowed to.
Yeah, this is a mess. I mean, it smothers whatever would have grown in there.
Yeah.
And you know where the wide opening is in the
Yeah.
back right there?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's from streets up above that they cut through to make this a pathway to the beach,
Yeah.
or, I mean, that should be left to grow back in. I mean, because that's right in the
That's not our
wetland.
property, though.
So the whole opening, and that's all behind you? Okay. I will be talking to the people behind you, because there's areas where there's plywood put down on top of the wetland. It's a mess up.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago. I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so in
Yeah.
terms of just cleanup, though, it wants to be simple. It's not like dozing the whole thing. It's just getting all the
Yeah.
trash, debris, that kind of thing. That would be good.
And let it come back naturally, what Mother Nature intends to grow there.
Well, what comes back naturally might be more invasive, but,
Well,
Ladies.
maybe not.
well,
Hope for the
anything,
best.
you know, you're aware of that area and
Yes.
sensitivity of it, so if you have a question, certainly Pat can help out with that.
I just don't want it landscaped.
Is there anybody else in the audience to speak to that? Any other suggestions, Pat?
No, usually we, you know, if we approve a project, we have a couple of conditions to go with it, and then we'd be following up, and it would be, I guess in this case, cleanup of that area, so.
Okay. All right, motion,
I make a motion to close.
second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next meeting, we'll have a set of orders and things like that to go forward on.
And when would that be?
We,
The
2 weeks.
15th.
The 15th of this month?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, because we want to get the builders in line.
sure.
line them up.
Yep,
Essentially, you can.
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I swore I saw it.
Yeah, okay. She's still looking for the two-car garage, but she saw it today. She wants to know how they got rid of it so quickly.
Oh, you don't have your pad with you tonight?
No.
You guys could look it up.
I came to
Oh, no, I see the picture right here.
What? What?
wait from work.
I know.
We did it all in the last meeting, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just,
You got them good, huh? Let me come back.
hate to burst your bubble, but you don't draw a big crowd.
Unless you're with that group you were with last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That draws the crowd, last time you were in there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. All right.
Yeah, I guess the people behind them have been on the list for issues with dumping in the wetland.
Yes, they have.
Carol recognized the name, so I will contact them.
Okay.
It's up by St.
Well,
See,
Francis.
that's where he is.
Theoretically,
St. Francis is up over here.
if we could blow through this other stuff in 4 minutes, we could be done at 7 o'clock.
Remember on Wheeler Ave, we did that.
Penny.
Yes, sir.
If we voted all this other stuff in 4 minutes, we'd be done by 7 o'clock.
Okay.
John's happy over there.
Okay.
We have a couple of minutes to do.
I make a motion, no, they're not on the agenda, but we got them.
That was part of the amendment.
The
Yeah,
addition at
Oh,
the top.
all right, so it was August,
that I read or forgot to read.
yeah, but
20th and September 3rd,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of August
20th.
20th
20th
and September
and
3rd.
September 3rd as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any quick ones on enforcement orders?
Yeah, there's,
They all look the same to me.
yeah, there's the draft order for Collier Road, 67. This is the enforcement order we voted.
Yeah.
Enforcement order last time, so that's going out tomorrow. The fence is still in. Penny checked
Yes.
it out. I was by there last week.
It's
So-
still there.
So we will, I
What do
think,
we
Carol,
do
do they
for
need
it?
to sign that tonight?
They could,
Yeah.
if they want.
Okay, we'll put it up on the
All right.
table.
All right, Mr. Ayer out on Gardner, we met with Jim Toomey. He asked me to go through all the old files, so there's several that go back a long way, back into the 90s, when there was a previous owner. And this is Otis Gardner Road area there. And so the property owner's attorney is going to pursue some action against the town, it appears. And we should just go ahead with the follow-up to the enforcement order. And we've already collected a fine on this one. So now the next step is, he's being asked to,
They paid one?
yeah, well,
They paid $50
Yeah.
a year ago.
yeah.
And
But
thought he
then-
was square with us.
Yeah, but then we kind of put it on hold because of the issue with the drainage.
Yeah,
so-
right.
But now, the order calls for him to really trying to find out where the wetland was going way back. And there's been so much fill out there, has to be done on soils. So, I mean, they may want to pick someone, we may want to recommend somebody that really is a soils person, because the location of this wetland line is going to be really important, because they're looking for amount of buildable upland. And
Right.
so, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah,
so.
that's a mess.
Yeah, it is, and there's trees down all over the place and brush in the wetlands, and
Right.
so that one's still going on. The last one, 271 Central Ave, I know that you have asked for an enforcement order. In the meantime, the barge was moved, but I don't know if it totally solves the problem,
No,
because...
this place is still a disaster.
Right, yeah, no, it doesn't solve even the barge problem, because the barge just got put in a different spot in the river.
Is it in Scituate or Marshfield?
It's in the river, so it's probably both, you know, so I didn't even know where it went. Does
Well,
anybody know
but I don't
where?
think that...
Yeah, it just went right around the corner, they call it the big hole.
Okay.
There's
It's
a
like
big
the Mount
opening
How you-
with-
But now it's split into two people, because I don't believe this person, unless she owns the barge too, with all the other junk.
There were kids diving off of it.
Waterways is meeting with Marshfield on their next meeting. So
Who is,
one-
Mark?
No, Waterways. Yeah, and Mark.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're having a joint meeting, so I'm wondering if we could just kind of kick it their way and see if they could do something, given the fact that both of them are going to be together.
Okay. And do you know when that is?
Dick Eckhouse sent
Oh, yes.
us the
Yes.
agenda today.
Okay.
But I mean, not to deflect it, but we ought to deal with
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy.
Right, right.
And-
That's what I'm saying. There's two issues and she gets...
Hopefully, we can find the Coast Guard or somebody else that can deal with the
Oh,
other.
make them get it out of there.
Yeah, I
Somebody
think
gets
both
hurt.
harbor masters could say,
Something.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
harbor master could
Exactly.
easily,
And Mark will be there. And
I thought he
so
was
with the...
done.
No, he's still
No,
there.
he's gotta
I
go
just saw him the
for
other day.
Okay.
yeah.
Not
he's
much,
around.
but he's got a little more.
Okay.
Pat, but should we be going after her on all the work that
Yes.
she has not done?
Yes. Well, at the last meeting, you asked me to write an enforcement order on that, and it's on the list, and it'll get done before the next meeting.
All right, because she's just playing us around.
Yeah. And same with 277 Chief Justice. I went by there, he wasn't home, and I'm gonna show him the area that has to be returned to wetland. He wanted to appeal it to DEP, and they said no, and so now he's at the point where he's just gotta go do it. He's still
Okay.
fighting with the builder on that, but that's their issue,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But both of those will be done next time. The other ones that we didn't put on the agenda for tonight were 271 Central Ave, is that what? No,
No, that's
242. Mr. Ackerblum?
Yeah,
And so if they want to apply to see if the wall can be allowed, then they have to refile. If they don't, they have to take it out. And if they don't do that, then it's an enforcement order. Because it.
so how long are you giving them to do something?
How long would you like? End of the month?
30 days.
Well,
That's standard.
yeah, I thought it was 30 days from 2 meetings ago when she was here, that they got to do one or the other.
Yeah, I think at that one, I told them I would call DEP.
Okay, yes, and then you did call
Right.
DEP, so
And
give
they
them
didn't even
a
get on the agenda, but by the end of October?
yeah, please. And then the other one's the other lady with the sand dune that was,
Yep. We're
Take
waiting
it
for a
down.
plan from the engineering firm, which it's Paul.
This is.
So I can check to see. This is Atlantic.
yeah, is she filing or what?
Yep. And Paul was doing a plan, Paul Marabito, so.
All right, because we're getting into winter, and maybe that sand dune would be nice to be back before
Yeah.
winter. I don't know.
Okay.
And Candlewood, 31 Candlewood, I needed a break. I needed a month, 2 months off. And I'm ready to go back and just.
You should have been out there trying to see how the
Spirit.
The pears are good.
how the pears were doing.
Yeah, can we pick them?
Unbelievable.
They're as good as...
So we'll get back involved now. We've already burned out one wetland person who we can never use again, so,
And one of them's passed on, so,
yeah, this is a tough site. This
A
takes
legacy.
the best of them, so.
okay.
And then there was a zoning change that you wanted to talk
Oh,
about?
actually, it was, we got a request for a certificate of compliance.
Oh,
Vickers?
okay, yes. Okay, this is on that Dreamwald Road, which becomes Kobe's Run way down in the back
Yeah,
near Swamp. So the new owner worked with J. Michael and with Sion, and they've done all the plantings. And the roof drain system is in. They have a roof drainage chamber. And everything is done. They have the posts in, they're just waiting for the stickers. A couple of the plants died, and so he believes that the developer is still responsible for that. So I would say we could issue a certificate of compliance. There's probably 30 plants in there. There's probably maybe 7 or 8 that have died, or they could be dormant. I recognize the plant, so it might be that by fall they start to look this way and they are going to come back. But I mean, if we issue, then we could tell Liam that he has to work it out with them about any dead plants.
okay.
So,
As long as we think it'll get done.
yeah, I mean, everything's been done perfectly. It's just that some of the plants died, but there's
Okay.
many plants that are doing well.
And this was a tough summer.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion on that?
But on this one, I ended up with
Go with those.
a violation on the abutting property. So we have 2 of those we picked up today. Out back, they cut down a bunch of trees in the wetland that was delineated for this one, and a lawn was planted,
Yeah.
and the fence was made out of sticks, so I got the address, I don't have a name yet.
One step forward, 2 steps back.
Exactly.
Essentially, yeah,
Picked up a
so-
lot of new business, yeah. So, never ends. I'm
Okay.
gonna drive down the street like,
And Mr. Sullivan?
what I am recommending on that.
track of all of these?
I'm
This one's
smart
her
girl.
favorite. So this one, what I'd like to do is have 2 of you, any 2, and myself, and them in the office just to sit down and go through it. I don't want to tie up a whole big meeting. We've gone through this before. Here's what we expect on this. And we're not going to say, no, you don't have a buffer. You know, we will work with you on the invasives, but there are other things we want done. And then Penny said she could go along with posts. So, I mean, post fence.
Oh, this is the one on Hollis Street.
Yeah,
All right, well, so it's you and who else?
Bill?
Yeah, me.
all right. And, you know, we don't want this to drag on forever. This is our last.
that's gotta be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
It
No.
has to be done.
All right,
Right.
It's
Said that last
ridiculous.
meeting.
Yeah.
okay,
So we'll get some dates set,
Thank you.
possible dates with you
Okay.
guys.
okay. So the 2 things I saw come up, there's a piece, this maybe a proposed zoning article to remove uplands from the requirement. So when you calculate a buildable lot, even if there's 5 acres of land, if 4 acres is wetlands, there's only one home site. If you had a land where there was 2 acres of uplands, then there might be potential 2 home sites. But what they're saying is that they want to remove the wetlands calculation from that. So let's say there's 5 acres and 2 acres of upland, but it's in a zone that only requires half-acre building, then potentially there could wind up being 4 homes on that site.
Who's they, zoning?
It's a change in the zoning.
Be a zoning change.
Somebody's petitioning.
Right. It's a law firm's letter requesting to get on the planning board. Planning would vote it in, but it would be a zoning change.
Is this a local ordinance or a state
This
ordinance?
is local.
This is local.
Like, most towns, there's another way, too, that it impacts. Say you have a small lot, and you need 20,000 square feet now of upland to build on it. In the future, how does this work? If you had, you wouldn't need the 20,000 of upland to build on this lot. You know, you could get by with less because the wetland could be calculated. So you might have 5,000 wetland, 15,000 upland. You could build on it if this law gets changed. Our wetland regulations won't get dropped. We'd still have the 50 and the 100, but it's putting a lot more pressure on us. Like right now, people don't even come before us if they need 20,000 square feet of upland. And it's going to impact the water table, and septics get closer. It's just, there's a lot of things about it. Almost every town has a buildable upland requirement.
I think from a Conservation Commission standpoint, we're pretty comfortable with the regulation that exists.
The way that it
The way
stands?
it is
Yep.
now. Yeah.
So is zoning asking for our
Or
2
planning.
cents?
I think it'll be an article that goes to town meeting. There'll probably be some discussion about it. It'll just be something that you guys need to be aware of and follow up on. And the other thing, because Scituate just, it seems to me we're lacking in a couple of pieces when it comes to, like, we don't have a minimum or maximum impervious surface. If, you know, you can have smaller lots that are grandfathered,
Right.
let's say.
Right.
And so we don't have a piece that says, you know what, you can only make 25% of your lot impervious. We don't have that.
Right.
So if there's a small lot or something, and you can fill that lot out with a building, there's nothing to keep you from, you know, especially like there's certain areas where things are already developed.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's going to be one more way to fill up a lot.
The other thing, some towns have a 100-foot buffer from a septic leaching field to the wetlands. Like Hanover had that. In this town, it's only 50. It's the state law.
Right.
50 feet from a wetland, if it fails, you know. there's
It's not
issues.
very far away.
Right. If it's 100, and even if they didn't have the 20,000 square feet of upland requirement, at least you're 100 feet away from the wetland if it does fail. So.
But if the town makes it 100 and the only place they can put it is in the 50, isn't the state still going to let them do it, I thought?
No, if we want 100, we can enforce the 100. Because we can't get less than 50. Like, we could never allow it at 45, because the state would say, no, our law says 50. But if we wanted to, it's like the wetland buffer.
So a system fails and the only place they can put it is outside of the 50?
No.
And you've got an ordinance that's, a bylaw that says 100, what's the state going to do? They're going to want that system
Well, yeah,
replaced.
if it's a failed system,
I
this would
thought you
be...
could do a tight tank, though. and-
No, tight tank's last resort. See, the state, in that case, they want a septic.
Right.
So
Yeah.
tight tank is when there's no
A
place
repair is
to put a
different
septic.
than a
Yeah.
new build,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And for new lots, it would be like that, but you're right, there'd be all sorts of grandfathering, or if you've been allowed to put it here, you'd be able to put it there as long as you can guarantee you're gonna maintain it. So, yeah, it will get tricky, you know.
But wouldn't the tight tank be the
Preferred
more
method.
environmentally
No, because a
friendly
tight tank
way?
doesn't process waste. It holds it, and then when it leaks or it overflows or someone doesn't pump it, you're just holding the waste, you're not processing.
And it's still
Septic
taxing
system-
the system.
A
because
septic
it has to
system
go into the
processes
system.
waste, it's like a sewage treatment plant.
So you're saying that people would just not have it pumped?
Well, the bottom line is the state will only give you a tight tank as a last resort.
It's
Because
mostly sand areas too, or
Yeah.
really high groundwater, but the other advantage of a Title V system is you are putting water back in, treated water back into groundwater, so it's helping our water supply.
it's a sewerage treatment plant.
Yeah. as
Which
long as
is
it's
always
working right.
preferable to a tank of sewerage, yeah. That still has to be disposed of when it's pumped out of your tank,
Okay,
Right.
so.
got it.
The only thing I wanted to say on this was that next Thursday, whoever's making this proposal is going before planning board, if anybody wants to go to the planning board meeting or watch it on TV, you know, that they, it's going to be proposed to them.
You going?
I thought I'd go, because,
Yeah.
so I
I
have
was
a
thinking
little better
I would go too,
understanding
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
What's the,
It's
there's
next
another
Thursday
meeting
night.
though, I saw, wasn't there a meeting by the planning board on future development or something? Did I see any?
Yeah, I saw something about water.
But that was when I was away.
Yeah, it rings a bell, but I can't.
November or something, there
Yep,
was a...
yep,
Oh.
yep.
Oh, that's
It's a
coming
discussion
up.
with developers.
Yes,
That's
Summit.
coming up.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
so
This one's October
we'll try to
9th.
keep you guys posted.
That's a Monday night. That one's a
Yes.
Monday, in engineers
But
too.
this
I
is
think.
next
Was
Thursday.
it November 9th?
Here.
Yeah, October 9th?
No, no,
October,
and
well,
one
we're
was November
talking
3rd.
about what we were just
Yeah,
talking about.
planning board's the 9th,
9th.
and the November 3rd one is the developers. meeting.
Can we send a letter to planning board to be ready for the
Yes.
minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Saying that, yeah, as a board, we would like to see the regulations stay in place.
Yeah. I would love to know how it originally got voted in as a 20,000 foot. I mean, the arguments that put this law in place, the same things probably still hold true. I would love to bring all those things up again.
Why would that change now, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because somebody's got some marginal land, they're trying to build on it, and they're...
Right, I mean, I see why, though, there are places, you know, outside of our little microcosm where, like, if a buildable lot's an acre, and you have an acre, and you have enough upland to meet the buffers and build, you can build. Because you
Right.
have the land.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of places do that, so I mean, I see why they're asking for it.
Right.
It's not some crazy wild,
Right,
that's how
because
a
there's the
lot of-
worst case ones that we're thinking about, but then there's
Right,
other
right.
ones.
There's a lot of places, that's the way they operate. It's about real estate. If you need 3 acres and you got 3 acres,
Yep,
you know, that's your minimum buildable. And then you got to, like Frank said, meet the setbacks and have enough upland.
yeah.
Well,
Would wetland be part of the calculation for setbacks? Or, no?
Well, there's always, the only setbacks we're concerned about is the 50-foot buffer and the 100-foot buffer, and that doesn't change no matter what.
Right.
That never
and the
changes.
town has other setbacks.
Right.
Right.
Frontage and all
Yeah.
that, yeah.
But there are lots now that we don't have to worry about that because they're not buildable for this other reason.
Right.
We could get a lot more lots coming before us that aren't great, but they're legal.
Questionable one.
Yeah.
So who put in the request for this?
There's a law firm heading, there's no developer's name attached to it that I can see.
Well, we might find out next
I'm sorry, when was that summit one? What was the date on that one?
November 3rd, with the developers?
Yeah.
November 3rd.
Third.
And I don't, let me see if I have the time.
I think it's down the Harbor Community Building.
It is.
That's what they're hoping.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't think
hoping
they
that,
have-
and I thought it was 6:30, but I could be
The
wrong.
planning board one next week is at 9 o'clock. But,
9 o'clock, the
9.
planning board,
yeah, this item is on at 9
in the morning or night?
PM.
Yeah, okay.
They don't
Way
start
down.
at 6.
The other one's 7 to 9:30,
Okay,
the developers one.
okay.
It's past my-
But Bill, to your point, they will take written comments at the planning board meeting regarding this.
Mr. Chairman, do you want?
Yeah, if you want to
our
draft
board-
something?
Do you want me to draft something?
Sure.
Yeah, if you want, I mean, it's a crazy week, but I'll try to find out some of
Yeah,
the
what the-
arguments
Yeah.
that
Yep.
were used in the past.
But see what you can put together.
Yes, sir.
If you want Penny to help you with that.
He thinks I have nothing else to do.
You just had a month off.
I was very busy.
What-
All right.
Didn't we have somebody from water come and talk to us about water resources today on the agenda?
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah, we talked about,
You
he
weren't
wasn't
here.
coming, he
Oh.
just, I gave the report to Frank to
Oh,
look at, but I
okay.
have to get it scanned, sent electronically, because we only got a paper copy.
Okay.
But he's looking for us to support.
This is John Clarkson's piece.
Okay,
But Pat will get us some more.
okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Yes, not.
Is that it? Did you have anything else? You had tree cutting.
Oh, yeah. So just the last one, and we'll get out of here. That
Oh, so you're
tree that
always-
was at Pat Butler's house, right? Went back and forth for quite a while. And just a couple of things if we could do in the future, like, you know, that, there was a bunch of emails that went out about this tree, but when you went by there, the tree was like never marked.
Exactly.
So A, when
Weren't
a
sure.
person wants to cut something, I think we should just say to them.
Ribbon.
Yeah, let's put some ribbons on the thing you want to cut so that nobody's in question there. And then B, if someone's got a letter from an arborist and that tree's overhanging their property and the arborist is saying that tree could potentially fall on the house, I personally don't think we should be the ones to decide that that tree needs to stay. I mean, I know she had a branch and then there was also a piece, but that's a pretty good-sized tree. I'm no expert in
Right,
that
right.
to know whether it's gonna keel over or not. And if they have someone that, and I think that should be just a standard answer,
Right.
say to the people, you wanna cut it, it's in the buffer, you need to get us a letter
Yeah.
and tell us why it's gotta come down. And if they send us a letter from an arborist saying that tree's
set.
sick
Yep.
and unstable, and it can potentially fall on that house.
I think in the end, we did say that, right?
No,
Well,
but.
that's what
But it
happened.
seemed like
She
it
did.
got played out for way
There's
too.
a lot of emails.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so, and marking it too, yep, I think that's an
Yeah.
excellent idea.
Yeah, that
would-
helps.
but let's not,
Yeah, learn by our experiences, yeah.
You know, part of that was me because I went out there and saw it and I didn't, you know, so I knew which ones it was. I should have told you guys.
okay.
The other one you have here, seawall repair on Surfside Road? What's
Oh,
up there?
Where is that? Is that on there?
Yeah, it's up
Oh,
top.
yeah, I didn't even see it. Okay, this is, there's a bunch of homes up on Surfside,
Yeah.
starting near where the public entranceway is and
Yeah.
going to the right. And
Yeah.
it was a wall done a long time ago, and it's in pretty good shape, but it's getting undermined.
Yeah.
So 6 or 7 homeowners want to go in on fixing the base of it so it doesn't get undermined. And so when I met with the woman, I told, you know, contact an engineer and get back to us. So she contacted an engineer and he gave a price, but he wouldn't do a whole group thing. So it was going to be individual ones. And so then Carol mentioned there was one in the past along Central where 3 homeowners got
Yeah.
together and they shored up the wall and brought in some, you know, repairs to it. And so we found those, and now we're going to email the person saying, you can come in and look at the file. You know, I don't feel comfortable giving them the name of the firm, but, you know, they can come in and look at the file, contact these people and do it. They, you know, they're afraid the wall's going to topple, and to do the repairs now is better, so.
Well, we've had some before in the past on Surfside that some local engineers did the job, you
Yeah.
know, and brought it in, filed with us, and
Yeah.
went over
I told them,
everything.
I said, you're
And it
doing
was
the
all-
right thing.
Yeah.
Of course, then the town went out and did some revetment work yesterday, and this woman saw them and said, well, why can't I just, you know, do it on minor perk? But it's,
No.
DPW's gonna have to do an after the fact on
And
this.
we found it, remember?
We found a couple that were from a while ago, that were for the same
2010.
time, yeah, same type of work. Yeah, it may be that we could just,
But she does have to
Revise.
file, that's the whole thing, because then after we had some that had filed, then we had somebody out there just going willy-nilly, and we had a mess.
we don't
So-
like willy-nilly.
No, because it
Okay.
was not good.
Okay.
Postal Coalition is meeting tonight,
Are they?
yeah,
Oh, let's go there.
right now.
We'll run down.
No,
Join them.
I
All right.
expected to be here.
Okay, I think that's it then.
Nancy goes, the person we just hired, she goes to those, so I can find out what.
We'll ask her, yeah, because that's her job. Shall we adjourn?
Yep.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
thank you.
Boy.